You guys requested it. You got it. Today we are showcasing some fantasy romance anime. So without wasting any time, I present to you top 10 fantasy romance anime to watch. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Also hit that notification bell so that you can stay updated whenever I upload a new video. Now sit back, relax and enjoy the video. Let's kick off the list with the evolution fruit, conquering life unknowingly. Our protagonist gets insulted every time for his appearance. One day, a voice claiming to be a god announced over the public address system to prepare to be transported to another world. The entire school, including our protagonist, were sent to a fantasy world featuring game-like elements such as levels, stats, and skills. The classes all formed groups to wait for the transfer, but our protagonist alone was discarded and as such was summoned to a different area. After being transported, the first thing he ate was the fruit of evolution. Even though it's pretty early to judge the show, the first few episodes seem decent. I'm personally not a fan of real-life protagonist. Also, added touch of action makes it somewhat enjoyable. I recommend you try this one. In 9th place, we have Dragonaut: The Resonance. Several years ago, our protagonist's family was killed in a space shuttle accident. A few years later, he is suddenly attacked by a strange monster, but is saved by a strange girl named Toa who possesses superhuman strength. As they make new friends and enemies, they now find themselves becoming increasingly entangled in the mysteries of a shadowy organization working to protect humanity. Despite all the hate and some drawbacks, I feel this anime has good potential. If you love mecha genre, with added touch of romance and action, then you might like this one. Overall, it's a pretty decent show, which got overlooked by many viewers. I recommend you give it a try and decide for yourself. Coming in at 8th place, we have Demepri Anime Caravan. Ani, a princess from the minor nation of Inako, has been sent to the signing ceremony in Selenflin. However, her hopes of a smooth ceremony are shattered when she meets the eccentric princes from her rival countries. With the treaty binding the three countries together, she and the princes must learn to overcome their differences. Together, they search for common ground on which to develop their friendship. I feel if you like comedy with likable characters and some development, then you should definitely try this one. Sometimes I seriously don't understand why such good shows fall in the underrated category. I think you should definitely give it a try if comedy and parody is your first preference. Coming in 7th place, we have Actually, I Am. One day after school, our protagonist stumbles upon a shocking truth that his crush is actually a vampire. Now she must quit school in order to protect her family. He promises not to tell anyone about her secret, but this is not going to be easy, as his nature is easy to rid, and he's unable to keep any secrets to himself. This is just the beginning of his trouble, as many supernatural beings enter his life. Left with no other option, he has to protect all of their identities or face the consequences. Despite all the flaws, I feel the plot is decent. Also, this anime is very funny at times. It depends on the viewer's mood. Overall, if you're into the supernatural romance genre and want to watch something different, then you're knocking on the right door. Moving on with our list, we have Banished from the Hero's Party. Set in a fantasy world where people are born with the divine protection of one of many gods. Our protagonist is born with the protection of the guide, which grants him only a high initial level. Later he joins the party of his sister, but his high level cannot keep up with his lack of equipment, magic, or martial ability, and he is driven out by a fellow party member. However, he uses his skills to start a medicine shop to earn money. with a half-elf carpenter and a princess who also couldn't be a party member of the hero. He begins a relaxed frontier life. After watching a few episodes, I must say this anime is really wholesome. I feel people who like slice-of-life elements in the fantasy genre will find this series entertaining. Even though it's pretty early, I feel this show has some potential to become something great. I highly recommend you to give it a try. Coming in at 5th place, we have The Severing Crime Edge. Our protagonist is obsessed with cutting beautiful hair. This trait leads him to a rumored long-haired ghost who lives in an abandoned house on a hill. But soon he finds out that she is not a ghost, but a beautiful girl with long flowing hair. She can't cut her hair due to her family curse. She further explains the death game, where if she gets killed by a cursed object, the wielder gets their wish granted. He's also in possession of the cursed object, a pair of scissors. He cuts her hair with the scissors and sets her free from the curse, even though it has some flaws. I feel the plot is decent. Also, characters are the strong point of the show. Overall, if you're looking for a romance anime with added touch of action and fantasy elements, then this one's for you. In 4th place, we have Maria the Virgin Witch. Maria is a powerful young witch, living with her familiars. As the war rages on and the innocent get caught in its destruction, she begins using her magic to try and prevent further conflict. However, the Archangel forbids her from meddling in human affairs. He issues a decree that her magic will be taken if she loses her virginity. Now the church begins plotting to take away her power and stop her interference once and for all. To be honest, I wasn't expecting that much from this show, but I was wrong. It definitely falls in that underrated list. Art style, animation, and characters are just perfect. Overall, if you don't mind female protagonists and want to watch something comedic and romantic, then you'll love this one. I highly recommend you to give it a try. In 3rd place, we have Earl and Fairy. Throughout the ages, fairy doctors served as liaisons between humans and fairies. But in the present time of the 19th century, fairies are nothing more than an old wives' tale. Our protagonist is one of the only remaining fairy doctors and enjoys a quiet life in the countryside of England. However, a guy named Edgar is in need of someone with a vast knowledge of fairy lore. He becomes her employer, but there are many secrets and emotions that seem to follow Edgar. I feel this anime does an amazing job in establishing its characters and fantasy elements. This is definitely not one of the best anime I've seen, but I truly enjoyed watching this series. It is a good romance anime and entertaining enough to quench your thirst. Coming in at 2nd place, we have The Saint's magic power is omnipotent. Our protagonist, who's an office worker, gets transferred to a whole new world. Unfortunately, the ritual which summoned her meant to produce a saint who would banish the dark magic. Also, the ritual brings to people instead of one, and everyone prefers the second girl over her. Left with no other choice, she leaves the palace and sets up a potion and cosmetic shop with her newly found magic. Well, initially it seems like a typical isekai show, but certain added elements of slice-of-life moments and potions makes it different. It's difficult to find good shows with female protagonists nowadays. Also, I feel it's a decent adaptation of a visual novel. Overall, if you're into slice-of-life shows with an added touch of romance elements, then you'll find this entertaining. In the 1st place, we have Romeo, Juliet. On a tragic night in Neo Verona, the Capulet family is murdered by Montague, and the country is seized. The only survivor is Juliet, who is rescued by loyal knights. One day on one of her secret adventures, she gets helped by Romeo, and they fall in love. Finally, Juliet's family reveals her heritage and their desire for her to reclaim her title. She also discovers that Romeo is the son of her worst enemy. I feel everything about this show is just perfect. It definitely deserves the first place. Overall, I highly recommend you to watch this. If you haven't, I'm sure you'll be surprised and love this show. Definitely an underrated anime and needs more love than it's getting. That's all for today's list, guys. I hope you must have enjoyed the video. Show your support by dropping a like and subscribing to my channel. Also follow me on my social media accounts to stay updated. In the end, you all stay happy and I will see you in the next video. See ya.